That's
Still says waiting on YouTube.
Welcome everyone to Haven of Horror. As always, I am Subject 879. We have the great Torgo, just us today. We did not invite the Canadian. He's a busy man.
No.
And I don't know if he would have been into this anyway.
We don't need him.
That's right. Who needs a Canadian? So this is Torgo's pick. Torgo, tell us what you picked and why you picked it.
All right, so this movie is a slasher from the early 90s called Popcorn. And it's about these film studies students who put on a horror-thon for the public where it's like 3 very cheesy B movies that are being shown. And kind of behind the scenes, there's this mystery about a like cursed piece of film, and like a director who made it and kind of went insane and allegedly died in a fire where the film was being shown. But the main character kind of has reason to believe that he's still alive and out there killing people. But yeah, now from there, like, there's a lot of other stuff that happens, but it's really just this fun kind of tribute to B movies and just like the theater experience. It's a really fun movie. I was very pleasantly surprised by this. It wasn't anything I'd heard of. It was one of the like blind picks for me for Shudder for this season. I was just kind of looking on Shudder and reading descriptions, and this kind of stood out to me as something that looked pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a blind watch for me. And
I can't hear you.
Oh, it's because I have 2 separate audio sources going through. And I
Weird.
didn't think I muted both of them. But anyway, this was a blind watch for me as well. And really, this isn't about the movie, but just kind of in general. This is kind of what I came up with this idea for. Like when I pitched it to you was to find movies like this. Because if I had to describe this as in one sentence, I'd say hidden gem.
It is, yeah.
I don't know how you end up feeling about it. We did not talk about this like at all before we started. But I really enjoyed this. It took a minute to click with me, but once I figured out, it's like, oh, this is what we're doing. I was like, okay, I am so on board.
Yeah. I think I was on board with it early on. Honestly, I was won over by it pretty easily.
Okay. Scream 2, I think, is looking at this. We're going to talk about the Scream thing here in a minute. But they have that scene in this movie where they're like all sitting around, talking directors and like they're in film school.
Yeah.
There is almost a shot for shot scene like that in Scream 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Connor needs to watch this. Our good buddy Connor Nielsen, he has been on the channel. Because they actually bring up, what's that director's name? Bergman?
Yeah, Ingmar Bergman.
Yeah, Connor needs to watch this movie just for that.
Yeah. yeah, no, that was a pretty funny scene early on where they're talking about that versus Police Academy.
Yeah, and it's like not just oh, here's a reference, don't you get it? You have to be like in the know to get that reference.
Yeah. No, I think this is a movie that was made by movie lovers for movie lovers, specifically, horror fans.
Since you bring that up, this is directed by Mark Harrier. And he only has like a handful of movies to his name. But it looks like the most notable thing he is in the Porky trilogy.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I've never seen those. I don't even know what they're about. But he is in all 3 as Billy McCarty. And now I kind of want to watch those to see what they're like.
I'm pretty sure those are like kind of like high school comedies.
Yeah.
From what I've heard. So not
Um,
very similar to this.
okay, yeah. And then it looks like the writer he did a bunch. He didn't really do. He also worked on Porky's 2 and Porky's 3.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't do much research into this after. I wanted to look up whether or not the movies they showed were real or not. I got the impression that they were like movies within movies, like made for the movie.
Mm-hmm. Um, so I'm looking here. So it looks like they are not, but they resemble like movies of the
Yeah.
decade.
They're
Um,
definitely meant to throw back to like kind of mystery science theater esque kind of B
well,
movies.
well, not only that, but specifically to William Castle because his movies
Yeah.
were famous for doing those gimmicks.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
if you don't
The
remember, William Castle directed what's that movie we watched with Vincent Price?
oh yeah, House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah, and he also did the original 13 Ghosts, and both of those had gimmicks when you
Yeah.
went to the theater. Like 13 Ghosts, you could only see the ghost if you wore these special glasses, which is referenced in the remake that we watched.
Mhm.
Um,
And
yeah.
I the House on Haunted Hill is it's this probably the skeleton that comes out right at the end.
No, no, because usually his gimmicks were something outside of the film. Like you would have to do this
Well,
to fully experience the film.
that's what I mean. I remember seeing somewhere that like the skeleton that Vincent Price has at the end of the movie, like someone has that on a rope in the theater, and it's like scaring the audience.
Oh, okay. That's
But
possible.
I'm
But
not
yeah,
sure. I'd have to do research into that. But
I really want
um,
this on 4K.
yeah,
Um,
I think it's just on Blu-ray right now.
Scream Factory, my man, get on it.
Yeah,
Actually, hold off. I still have to buy your like last like 7 releases. So
then get on it.
how did you feel about the characters in this movie? And I do want to give a special shout out to Dee Wallace. Uh,
Yeah,
I don't know what she was doing there for most of the movie, but she was there.
she was there playing
And
the mom as always.
that's kind of where some of the movies, why the movie lost me at first, is because like you set it up and like she's the mom, you know, and she's got this niece who's having like thinks something's wrong. It's like, okay, I've seen this before, but then it subverts your expectations, and not what we mean
Yeah,
nowadays by subverts expectations, where we make you think we're gonna do what you don't expect, and then just do the opposite, so it was actually what you expected all along. She goes to actually investigate instead of just trying to like downplay the fears, and then she just I guess gets kidnapped because she shows
yeah,
up back at at the end. But I was like,
yeah.
well, that's weird.
Yeah, she's like kidnapped because I think the idea was it was either her or the girl's mother that blew up the theater and killed the director of the movie.
It was her because the twist at the end isn't that she's the mom, and she's the aunt.
Yeah, okay.
Which brings me to my burning question: did you call it?
No.
You thought that guy was really alive?
I thought uh you're talking about who the killer was?
Yeah, because the movie makes you think it's this guy that we've kind of set up, and like he ran this movie cult, whatever that means. Um,
Yeah.
did you think it was him?
I mean that guy. What the guy that they meet at the theater, I was like, that's kind of a red herring. I immediately caught onto that, but I didn't expect it to be the nerdy kid.
I feel like I should have expected it to be the nerdy kid, but I didn't. Like, I didn't think it was gonna be a whodunit. Uh,
Yeah,
which another thing it has in common with
another
Scream.
thing with Scream. Yeah,
Do you think this twist is harder to guess than like say let's say Scream?
Um, yeah, maybe because they kind of set it up as a more supernatural thing at first, and that's not what it ends up being.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's this weird part where like one of uh, it's the guy, the main character's boyfriend is like has this other girl that he brought to the movie, and he gets up and then there's this random guy in the audience that like stands up and then sits in his seat, and the way that he's moving like made me think, oh, is the bad guy's like possessing him, because he was acting very unnatural and like
You
stilted.
know,
But no, it was just some weird guy.
I love that
There's
extra. He got like 2 scenes and he went for it.
yeah.
I don't hit no
Yeah.
chicks.
Yeah, no, that character was so weird.
Yeah, and that's the if I had a complaint, it's that stuff. Like, I
Yeah.
don't care about your relationship drama. I know they're trying to make her like a real character, but I also mixed her up with the woman that's sleeping with her teacher.
Oh, really?
I mixed them up, like her, the main girl, and that girl. And when you get to
Oh,
the
wow.
scene where she's like making out with the guy, but it's not really him, I
Yeah.
was like, our main character is banging her teacher? What?
But then did you think, oh, they're gonna kill off the main character?
Oh, I was like, is that not her when she gets the like the face
Yeah.
starts like melting off of her?
That was gross.
That was gross. I don't know what happened there, but it was gross.
Yeah.
Um, weird
Yeah, I don't
thing,
know. It was like the mask was falling apart, I guess.
yeah, weirdly progressive this movie is. Uh, with the
Oh.
killer that can be either gender if they want.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about that, but yeah. I
Well,
guess
because
the
they
idea.
call special attention to it. That's the only reason I
Did
noticed it.
they is there a line about like
Yeah, when we're finding out who it is, he's like, I've gotten really good at I can be either gender, and he's like holding the
oh,
woman's face.
yeah. Yeah, and he's like changing voices.
Did the
Um
makeup hold up to you when you see his real face? Because there was a couple
yeah.
of scenes where it's like it doesn't look like that's really your mouth.
Oh, well, I wasn't really paying attention to his
Okay.
mouth all that much, but I thought for the most part the makeup was actually really well done when it's like him wearing the mask and it's like not fully on, so it's like flapping around all over the
That was
place.
hysterical. And
Yeah.
that actor is amazing because he knows exactly what kind of performance to give.
Oh, he was great. Yeah.
Who
No,
is
I really liked the villain character in this movie. I thought he was very entertaining and had a lot of energy.
oh, his name in the movie was Toby, right?
Yeah, Toby.
Bully McGuire at it again.
This would be a
He,
very different movie if that was Toby Maguire playing it.
he was in Grease too.
Oh, okay. I haven't even seen Grease 1, so.
I have absolutely no interest. But no, he is phenomenal. And I'm looking at his filmography and I'm really sad to say it doesn't look like he did any more horror films.
That's a shame.
He is though on an episode of Deep Space 9.
Oh, okay. I'll have to look out for him next time I watch that.
The episode The Collaborator.
Collaborator.
It looks like it's towards the end of season 2.
Yeah, that doesn't immediately ring a bell, but I need to revisit that show.
I think that is going to be my project this week. I'm going to rewatch The Last of Us and finally get through Star Trek Deep
Hell
Space
yeah.
Nine. I am off for a week.
It's the best Star Trek show.
It's the only
But
good one. No.
well, not the only
Anyway,
good one. It's just the best. Anyway,
did you recognize anyone else in this cast besides obviously Dee Wallace?
not really. Um Everyone was kind of just like mostly there. I guess they were mostly like B actors. I didn't recognize anyone immediately.
the idea I'm getting just looking at some of their filmographies is um, TV actors,
Yeah.
and
Well, I
most
think
of them.
the main girl I think was in other horror movies.
She
She might
dated
be.
Keanu Reeves back in the day.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, back when they both starred
Whoa.
in Babes in Toyland.
Oh, okay.
Dude,
Interesting.
she like moved through people. Then she was engaged to Brad Pitt.
Really? Wow. Huh. And
Most of these people aren't even
this is the
active
thing
anymore.
I
Some of
know
them.
her from most, I guess.
She was on an episode of T.J. Hooker.
Yeah. Well, she's been around, I guess.
Hey, that's a, to be fair, that is a Star Trek connection because
That's true.
if you
Shatner.
don't know who stars in T.J. Hooker,
Shatner.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of once you get to like the horror uh aspect, and you know the setup is a theater, which is such a cool setting for a slasher.
Yeah. That's a great
These
setting.
these are the kind of movies I like where we take this simple premise and yeah, you know, you add some garnish, maybe some like, oh, this is a love letter to, you know, 50s and 60s cinema or whatever, but you take a very simple premise and set it in someplace unique. Like there's another movie that I've watched that I want to make you watch at some point that's a slasher but like in a grocery store. Um where we get creative with, and it's not just here's another small town that's, you know, haunted by this curse, or here's another
Mhm.
camp with a hockey mask, but it's not
Yeah.
Jason, it's just a hockey mask.
Yeah. That you got to shake it up once in a while because that kind of stuff gets boring really fast.
Well, and
But
I'm amazed that this is a 91 film because slashers
yeah.
would have been on the decline by this point.
Yeah, this probably would have been when people were experiencing a lot of fatigue with that genre.
Because this is post Jason 8, Friday 8.
Yeah.
Jason 9 hasn't come out yet though, I don't think. But like,
No.
and like Nightmare on Elm Street's on is going downhill at this time. It is amazing that this
Yeah.
came out and is, I'd argue, is great. Like for what it
Yeah.
is.
I think, the problem and why it didn't catch on is just because it came out in like a growing pains kind of period for the slasher.
Yeah,
It like post the 80s slasher boom and
it's about 10
pre-Scream.
years too late.
Yeah.
It's
Or,
either 10 years too late or 6
or
years too early.
6 years too early. Yeah.
I don't know which. Either or.
I mean, I'd say maybe more the latter because it kind of starts to get into the whole meta thing that was why Scream was so popular. Not as much as that, but it's a movie about movies.
Yeah,
So,
and I think why this may have, I don't know if this actually flopped, but it's obviously not like a household name in the way
yeah.
Scream is.
I mean, yeah, I hadn't heard of it until
Yeah.
I picked it. So
The meta commentary is nice, but it's not really saying anything, right? It's just we know movies.
well, it's not so much of a critique as Scream kind of is, as much as it's just a love letter.
Yeah.
Or
It's like
not critique, but it that was more
it's
of like
not
a
a
subversion.
deconstruction.
Yeah, that was more of a deconstruction. This is kind of just like celebration.
Yeah. We need more of that. We need more celebration movies. I am so sick of deconstruction in genre.
Yeah.
Like at this point, deconstruction isn't even deconstruction, it's just construction. Like, give me
Yeah.
more of this. Give me, we need to go. That's. I would love to see somebody look at this and be like, "Hey, I want to make something like this where it's just an honest to god tribute to those movies instead of here's everything that was dumb about those movies."
Yeah.
Do you get it?
You get it? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just because that's been done to death and not as good as something like Scream or even like Cabin in the Woods, which we reviewed recently, was a pretty good balance between celebration and criticism.
Yeah. Now you've got me wanting to watch that again.
Yeah, I mean those are all great movies.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Um. So I guess let me ask you this, because I don't have a lot to critique about the story, and there's not much of a story. It's just killer in theater killing people. So I guess I have two questions. A, would you watch this again? And B, and I maybe should do this backwards, but how did you feel about the kills? Because to me, at least, that is a very important part of a film like this. And I think that might be one place where this movie's lacking a little bit.
Yeah, I think this movie is lacking in kills. Uh, they could have made it a little bit. I think what they were trying to do is pretty creative, like the mosquito ending up stabbing the teacher, and then the other kid gets shocked when he's like controlling the seats, and that shocked the audience. So they could have thought a little. They could have been a little bit more creative with that, but they were still. I appreciate how creative they were being. But like in terms of gore and stuff, this movie's pretty restrained. I think they could have gone a little further with it, but it's like it's not enough to like detract from the movie. It's just kind of like a wishful, like, oh, it might have been better if they did a little more gore. But I absolutely would watch it again. I love this movie.
All right, so this is more just about going back to the genre thing, but have you seen In the Mouth of Madness?
Yeah, we watched it together.
Did we? Okay.
Yeah, we did.
I can't keep track anymore.
I gotta watch it again though, because I don't remember a lot about it.
Hell yeah.
Honest. So.
Well, Torgo, I don't know about you, but I feel like I've said all of my bit on this movie.
Yep.
Just a solid. What is it? Is this even 90 minutes?
I think just about 90 minutes, or maybe
91 minutes.
Yeah.
I've needed this. It's a week late, but this is kind of a palate cleanser for Marsaul watch.
I think I had more of a fun time with this than a lot of the later Saw movies.
Yeah. So I had originally given this a 4, but I think I've kind of talked myself down to a 3.5. I don't think I could quite go to 4, just because a lot of the stuff that they try to do with character stuff doesn't go anywhere, and it just feels like padding so we can get to the kills, which is fine. But they also make such a big deal out of it. It's like, oh, we're doing this again. 10 minutes later, oh, we're doing this again. That fair. And the general, just like you said, the kills. There's ideas there, but ideas aren't worth anything if they don't get put to screen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
And what is your final score, good sir?
I was going back and forth actually between 3.5 and 4, and I actually, even despite all of our criticisms, I think because of this discussion, I'm going to go with a 4.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
4 out of 5.
All right, you know what time it is.
It's time to spin the wheel.
The wheel. The
wheel of fortune.
Oh. And we've got The Howling. All right, so we're going to do one of two things next time we come back. Torgo is not going to be readily available going forward from this weekend, or week, I think you said?
Yeah, starting this week.
And I will be busy next Friday. But we are going to, next time we will be doing, I guess it helps if next week we will be doing, or next time we will be doing The Howling, or we might switch it up and do a Saw ranking video since we have finished all 9 before 10 drops. We haven't really talked about it, but that idea just popped into my head.
I'm down
Um,
for that.
yeah, I think it'll be fun. I already have a list. I don't know if you were keeping track as you went along. Um,
Um, I'll have to think about it. I might rearrange some, but did you want to do that before 10 comes out or after so we can include it?
Probably before, because I don't know how long it'll take me to see 10.
Okay.
And that might be good. Like, hey, Saw 10's coming out. Here's our ranking of the current
Yeah.
Saw
Here's
movies.
something Saw related, and then
Yeah,
we'll actually review the movie later. Okay.
yeah. But yeah, we will see you guys next time. And then the next thing I know for sure we're doing is the first Friday after Five Nights at Freddy's drops. We will be doing a blind commentary. So I hope to see you guys there. I'm gonna torture Torgo with it and see if I can get
Yeah.
the Canadian to come along. But actually, he may not be able to because I don't think Canada has Peacock.
We'll find a way for him to watch it.
Torgo's like,
No,
if I
I
have to watch it, so does he. But all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Noah, thank you for picking the movie.